Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, sampler big series of videos I do for the one. I'll go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff. Then, folks, I'm gonna talk about stuff. I'm gonna let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not gonna lie. We're doing a ramen review. It's in the back room. Typically, when I'm in the back room, I do ramen reviews, but not all the time. Not all the time. Keep that in mind. But anyway, folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. That one just in my head was like, what did you just say and why did you just say it, Brandon? It's like, I don't know. I took it somewhere and I ran with it. Uh, but yeah, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm going to yammer out about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my back room today, as I just mentioned. Which means I've got Peter Can Thunderbolt poster back there. I got my green mask over there. Also got some stuff that's just general things. There's a little hamster set up right back there for one of my hamsters. No crappy old ladder off to the side. Crappy old ladder is in another room these days, but maybe one day the crappy old ladder will return. But aside from that, what else am I doing, folks? Well, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing today? Boom! It's my The Browning shirt, which I love this shirt, man. This is super cool. I actually just got this a couple days ago at the time I'm doing this. The Browning, if you're not familiar, they are a sort of avant-garde industrial metal band. Been around for quite a while, since I believe 2005 is kind of when they got started. And they've released some albums. They've had some issues with their record label at various points. But yeah, I became aware of them probably around 10 years ago, and finally got to see them live for the first time last night. They fucking killed it. All the bands were really good. I actually got video. Excuse me. I actually got video of all of said bands that performed. The Browning, Born of Osiris, Waste, Rings of Saturn, Careless Sanctions, and Surge. It was fucking phenomenal, man. It was a great... That was my 20th show of 2023. Probably going to be my last show of the year. It was phenomenal. Check that stuff out in case you're interested. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing? Like I said, it is a ramen review. And with it being a ramen review, I do have to mention, I have an entire playlist called Ramen Reviews, where I just review instant noodle stuff. So what ramen instant noodle thing am I trying today? I actually have to look at the name of it. Because it's boom! It's Choi, I guess. That's what I'm going to go with. It is Choi Ramen Noodle Soup, Chicken Flavor, Instant Soup Mix, Restaurant Quality. That is a bold claim for some instant ramen, but hey, fits more topping. I'm guessing that means that you can put toppings on it if you would like. Sure. I just did the microwave on this particular one. It's also new premium noodles, so okay. With the whole thing and such, I wonder if this is made by the same people who make the Tapatio ramen. We'll find out. But yeah, I think I got this at maybe a Jewel or some supermarket in like their little ethnic section, and I was like, I've never seen that brand before, so let's give it a go, right? Let's mush it around a little bit. And yeah, I just did the microwave. Just take the stuff out, put it in the stuff, put the water in the stuff, put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. Sounds good to me. So let's go ahead, let's see if we can't... Can we go over there and get a... I always like to do a little noodle pull. It won't stay on the thing. That's a good one. I like that one. Let's give it a go, folks. It's still very hot, despite the fact that I let it cool down for a while. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's retaining its heat. It's fine. It's not bad. I mean, the noodles are fine. I would say that it's entirely possible that it's made by the same company that makes the Tapatio noodles. And to be fair, most instant ramen noodles are pretty similar. You know, unless you're like going for like a more like a more regional variant, like if you're getting like pho or something like that, then the noodles might be different. But I will say one thing with the broth, you can actually see it's got like a shimmer to it. Like I can't really show you, but and so it's got like that kind of like that little greasy shimmer. So probably explains why it actually does have an okay chicken taste to it. But yeah, the noodles are good. Um, no issue with those. They cook through nicely with just the standard instructions. The main thing, because realistically, when it comes to most of these things, the main thing is the broth, right? Granted, like there are some where maybe they have like a flavor paste or something that kind of ties in. But for the simpler ones like this, I mean, yeah, there's like some vegetables in it, but like, who cares really? We're talking about the broth. Let's try some of the broth just kind of by itself. You know what? That broth ain't half bad. That broth ain't half bad. That broth ain't half bad. Honestly, that's probably the closest I've had from like an instant ramen to actually tasting like proper chicken broth. Like, it's not one for one. It doesn't have quite the same level of depth to it. I mean, obviously, if you're making broth from scratch, it's going to be that much more rewarding. But it does. It comes like it's not that far off from say like a Campbell's chicken soup broth. Where again, it's not particularly spectacular broth, but there's something to it. There's a little depth to it. Chicken flavor is nice on it. And there's kind of a bold flavor there that you don't get with most like chicken flavored instant ramens, your Maruchans, your top ramens and stuff. Those are fine for what they are, but they're not doing much. And again, it's fine. But with this, I can actually get down with this as far as like being a chicken thing. It's pretty good. I mean, and other than that, I mean, the noodles work fine. Coats the noodles nicely. It's good. I'm actually pretty down with this. Again, I think out of the chicken flavored instant ramens that I've had, like this is probably the best I've had in terms of that getting that chicken soup quality. Now, all that said, folks, two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? I'm going to go with yes and yes overall. Actually, this is going to be a pretty resounding yes for me. I think all around. So for me, about the only thing that works against it, and it's strictly on a personal level, is that it doesn't have any like real spice to it. I like spicier ramens. I don't need like the comically spicy ones, but like I do ones, I do like ones that have some kick to it. But that said, I can get down with some non-spicy ramen too. It's just a preference thing. And I think that if I wanted something where it was like, okay, yeah, if I want a chickeny flavored, pretty solid ramen to it, maybe not restaurant quality, definitely not restaurant quality, but this fits that perfectly well. And other than that, it's nice, it's filling, it's going to work for you, and it's going to be definitely a vast improvement again over something like Maruchan, a cup of noodles and stuff. Yeah, man, if for no other reason than I think they really nailed the broth, I would definitely get it again. And if I'm recommending it to other people, when it comes to ramen reviews, it's one of those things where kind of two people that I'm sort of working with. People like me who don't cook a lot, tend to go the easier route when it comes to their food. And then like proper adults who actually, cook and like have more balanced diets. If you're going for me, I absolutely, because I think again, I genuinely think that the broth on this is just it's really good. You know, Again, it's not going to be as good as proper soup, and let's be honest, you could always just go over there and get some Campbell's Chunky or something like that. That's not very hard to make. It probably takes about the same amount of time in the microwave, if we're being honest. But there's times when maybe you just don't want something that heavy, and this does that, and it tastes chickeny. So, yeah, I definitely recommend it in that regard. if you're of those normal people types, who it's probably more of like an occasional lunchtime thing, what have you, I would still recommend this one because, for one thing, I mean, you're definitely getting more of it, which could be here or there for you. If you're lighter on lunch, then obviously it might not be for you. But again, it does taste a lot more chickeny than pretty much any other ramen I've had, and it deserves credit for that. So I'm still going to recommend it. I think all around, this is a pretty solid ramen. Yeah. 5 things for you guys. Have yourself a great rest of your day. Protect the rest of the week. Money meant to rest of the month. Spend this rest of your folks. Go over there. Have yourselves a truly, surprisingly good Choi ramen-tastic rest of your life, I guess. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity in the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do all the time, I know I can't do all the time. Here's what you can do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me, I know it, I live it, I'm out there with you in it. At the end of the day, folks, life can be really stressful, really frustrating, just bullshit sometimes. And when it is, take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, maybe you're going to go over there, maybe you're going to try out some Choi Restaurant Quality Instant Ramen. And maybe, like me, you're going to be more than a little bit impressed with it. So then maybe you go over there and you take some of it, right? Maybe you go over there, you add in a few little things, whatever. You start bringing it to work. People, your coworkers get interested. You're like, what's that? And you're like, well, it's this, and blah, blah, blah. So maybe you go over there, you start talking to the Choi people, and you're like, hey, let's make a whole line of restaurants. Now you got restaurants, it's a whole thing. Maybe you could go over there and invite me to review some of it, since, I kind of gave the idea. I mean, maybe you go over there, you're like, hey, thanks for all your assistance and giving us the idea and all that stuff and everything. We're just going to cut you a little side check, just a little something. I'm not greedy, folks, I'm not greedy. Just a little something. That's all I'm saying. Or conversely, eat your ramen at your leisure. That's part of the advantage of it, right? You can just kind of eat it whenever. Bye.